We have live breaking news, Nez Nation. The teens who jumped Edward, a.k.a. Big Balls, Coristine, avoided jail today after a D.C. judge sentences them to probation. Elon Musk is furious. Most law-abiding, tax-paying people who love America, actual America citizens like myself, are furious. This guy, Coristine, who was a young man who is an exemplar to other young men and women in America, fighting for his country, preserving our union, doing everything he can to serve, to give back. This guy was left with a concussion and a broken nose after him and a female friend were jumped by a group of 10 teens. This is before Trump fixed up and cleaned and called the National Guard into D.C. The 15-year-old boy received 12 months probation, and the other one was sentenced to 9 months of probation. I'm going to go through everything step by step, exactly what happened, who this judge is, and what Elon Musk said in just a second. But first, I want to share with you the story direct from Edward's mouth. Watch this.
I was hanging out with a group of my friends late at night, and at about 3 a.m., we were wrapping up, and I was walking one of my friends back to her car. And as we're walking to the car, there's a group of 10 guys right across the street. And as we get to the car and she begins to fumble for the keys, they start shouting at us. And really quickly, I knew something was really off about the situation. So she unlocks the car. I rush her into the driver's seat. She's able to close the door behind her and lock the doors. And, you know, right as I turn around, they run up on me. And they're just a few feet away. And they slam me against the car. They start throwing a bunch of punches. I keep my hands up. I'm just like, all right, I'm getting a lot of punches here. I'm just trying to protect my head the best way that I can. And, you know, luckily the whole thing didn't last too long. The police showed up pretty quickly. So I was very fortunate. I only came out with a broken nose and a concussion. It could have been a lot worse.
Oh my God. All right. So they were wailing on you. Did they get you down on the ground?
No. I knew that if I got down on the ground, it'd get way worse. So I was like, all right, no matter what, I just have to stay on my feet.
All right, so stay on your feet. You protect the head because you know what? Big Balls also has big brains, and that's very important. And you saved this lady friend of yours. You kind of saved more than her car. You might have saved her life.
Yeah, it was a really bad situation. And, you know, the carjacking didn't make a lot of sense because, like, it was like the cheapest car on the block. So it felt like there might have been something else going on there.
You see, my fellow Americans, that just proves that this was totally motivated by hate. This was totally targeted. Maybe even, dare I say, I know I could probably get in a lot of trouble for saying this, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. Maybe even backed and funded by these radical, anti-American, absolute preposterous Democrat hypocrite leaders, maybe the Obama Soros, I don't know. I would not be surprised. They vilify, they demonize, they attack, they call them Nazis, they call them Gestapo. And by the way, these guys, not only did they save American taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars, but check this out. A new DOGE alert just came out yesterday. 149,000 federal workers, including 5,000 IRS employees. Check this out. If you're mad about the government, if you're mad about paying your taxes, they all owe $1.5 billion in back taxes. The people who are responsible for collecting taxes on behalf of the government aren't actually paying their taxes. And then they get mad at DOGE for cuts, finding waste, abuse, and fraud, and excising them from the equation. They fight every single day. They're the ones who perpetuated all the attacks on Tesla dealerships. One of the greatest minds, the Leonardo da Vinci of our time. This guy has multiple innovations that are groundbreaking, that if you attributed one, whether it be Neuralink, Starlink, SpaceX, Tesla, any of those to just one person, they would be absolutely renowned and showered with accolades. And what do? They vilify him and attack him over a hand gesture that meant nothing of the sort. So many people who know Elon Musk, I feel it in my heart as well, have attested this guy has a heart of gold. He will go out of his way to help people. He's the exact opposite, the direct diametrically opposition to what a Nazi is. But they don't stop. They don't care. Why? Because he's actually exposing their criminal enterprise. He's exposing their money laundering. Why do you think Hakeem's dream, nobody's dream that is, Jeffries and Bernie Sanders and AOC fight the oligarchs while they're on private jets sipping champagne? Why do you think that they have hundreds of millions of dollars in net worth on salaries that barely touch $200,000 a year? How do you think that happened? Just by being smart investors? These absolute brain dead mooks who wouldn't know a smart investment if it slapped them in the face? Are you kidding me? I think not. So I'm going to give justice. I'm dedicating this video, and I hope to God you will share this out. I hope to God that you will tap that thumbs up, because I am dedicating this video to Edward Coristine, Big Balls, and we're going to go through step by step exactly what's going on, who's this judge, and what Elon Musk said right now. Watch. Okay, so that right there is Kendra Briggs. She is the judge who gave these assailants and these criminals absolutely nothing. But I want to break it down step by step. And by the way, if you want a copy of my research notes, I always give these away in full transparency for free. You'll find a link in the pinned comment and in the description down below. Just click on that. It's absolutely free. In August of 2025, Edward Coristine, again, nicknamed a DOGE staffer, nicknamed Big Balls, was severely beaten by a group of teens. You heard his story. Well, guess what? Just today, October 15th, D.C. Superior Court Judge Kendra Briggs, big shocker, she's a Biden appointee, sentenced the two 15-year-old suspects charged with unarmed carjacking and literally, I mean, this is attempted murder, to 1 year of probation each, emphasizing her role in rehabilitation over punishment, despite prosecutors' push for detention. I'm going to kind of skip through these details really quickly just for the sake of brevity. You can read these if you want to download, but it kind of goes through exactly what happened, how the attack took place, where he was walking, what happened, and then the fact that it gained national attention amid rising violent crime, including a 39% surge in carjackings. But then you have Muriel Bowser and all the leftist hypocrites saying, no. There's just like Pritzker, Governor Pretzel, and Black Lives Matter Mayor Johnson saying there is no crime in Chicago. 54 murders last weekend. There is no crime. Why is Trump doing this? We had LA riots, which uprooted downtown, destroyed massive municipalities, transportation, as well as law enforcement vehicles, and then some, and city property. Businesses had to board up. But no, there's no crime. Why are you sending the military here? Oh, it's just absurd. Details, but I want to get into this. The details of the legal proceeding here. Two juveniles were initially detained at DC's Youth Services Center, but released to their guardians by Judge Kendra Briggs on August 21st, despite prosecutors' requests for continued detention, citing community safety risks. Why would you let them out and release them to their guardians and their parents? I mean, you're essentially, why is it that the Democrats don't believe in crime? I'm just really, really concerned and just genuinely curious. Why don't you guys believe in crime? One teen pleaded guilty on September 24th to attempted carjacking, admitting to the assault. On October 15th, that's today, in D.C., Superior Court Judge Briggs sentenced both to 1 year of probation, emphasizing, I'm not here to punish, in her words. I'm really here to rehabilitate. Aligning with DC's Youth Rehabilitation Act, which allows judges to seal records and avoid adult-like sentences for offenders under 18. Prosecutors argued for detention, noting the violence and prior records of the teens. One had a history of theft, but Briggs prioritized restorative justice. Is one of those like academic terms that means nothing. It's just a way for them to justify their race hustling, race baiting business, constantly sowing division, constantly favoring anybody who is not white. Because if you're a white Caucasian, especially under the Biden-Kamala regime, you are considered the devil. You're considered public enemy number one, especially if you're a white male, but pretty much white anything. So restorative justice means nothing. What she said was, so this required community service, counseling, and school attendance monitoring, which is going to do nothing. It's like essentially sending criminals to criminal school and learning how to become better, because all of these schools and detention centers and counseling, they're all woke, radical, left, and they're going to do everything they can just to get a paycheck and avoid any, they're going to walk on eggshells because everything is all about, well, if you're actually reprimanding anybody who looks brown or black, you're considered an oppressor. You're a colonialist. You're a racist. I mean, you can't do it. So nothing's going to happen. The decision occurred amid the Trump administration's federal takeover of D.C. policing, aimed at curbing lenient juvenile policies that critics argue enable recidivism rates as high as 70% for similar instances. So here's who Judge Kendra Briggs is. Here's a big shock. I'm also going to play you a clip, stick around, of Ketanji Brown Jackson, Superior Court Justice, appointed by whom else? Vegetable in Chief Biden, who today argued that it's racist. I'll get to that in a second. Profile of Judge Kendra Briggs. Okay, appointed by President Biden in 2022 and confirmed by the Senate, Briggs serves on the D.C. Superior Court, handling family and juvenile cases with a focus on equity and reform, which essentially means equal outcomes, not equal opportunities. It is a direct rebuke to meritocracy, what our country was founded on. It's essentially a guise. It's subterfuge. It's clandestine for racism, reverse racism. That's what it is. Prior to her judgeship, she worked as a public defender and advocate for juvenile justice reform, often criticizing punitive systems that disproportionately impact minority youth. You know what's really interesting is none of the minority youth that I know ever have to worry about these punitive systems. You know why? Because they're not committing crimes. Isn't that interesting? If you're young, old, white, black, purple, orange, green, doesn't matter. If you don't commit crimes, you usually don't run into law problems. You usually don't run into criminal charges. You usually don't run into punitive systems. Critics, including Elon Musk, called the ruling incredibly unjust, argue her background reflects left-wing bias towards leniency, prioritizing systematic factors like poverty and race over victim impact. Supporters view, because everything that the radical left does, they have a PhD in blaming everybody else but themselves. And it really came to fruition, manifesting itself beautifully, poetically, in the form of Kamala Harris, who is now on this ridiculous book tour, blaming everybody else for her loss, pointing her finger everywhere, including her former running mate, except for herself. I didn't do anything wrong. No. What do you mean? I'm the most qualified person to ever run for president. How could that be that I did anything wrong? Typical leftist mentality. Supporters view her as a progressive force. Oh, yeah. In a system of historically biased against Black and Latino teens who comprise over 90% of DC's juvenile carjacking arrests. Gee, I wonder why. It's got to be racism, right? Here's the broader context of DC's juvenile justice system. DC policies influenced by progressive reforms under Democratic control emphasize diversion and rehabilitation for juveniles, which basically means we will take a look at them, and if they look like us, if they look woke enough, if they don't look white and male and Caucasian, we're going to let them go. That's essentially what that means. This approach stems from critiques of mass incarceration, but detractors point to a 2025 backlog of 15,000 cases due to judicial vacancies and lenient rulings. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, is why every single tax-paying, law-abiding citizen has to look over their shoulder and keep their head on a swivel, because this DEI wokeism ideology, this cancerous contagion that has afflicted our society, which would have been heightened and augmented under Kamala. Thank God Almighty. Thank the Lord that America came through on November 5th, 2024, we would have seen unyielding crime across the board, and there wouldn't have been a city left in America that you could live in and feel comfortable and safe. All of this wokeism has led to exacerbating crime waves. The Trump administration's 2025 federal oversight seeks to override local leniency, imposing mandatory minimums for violent juveniles and debates over whether DC's liberal judiciary undermines public safety. National trends show similar reforms in left-leaning jurisdictions, but DC's unique federal-local hybrid amplifies partisan conflicts, with Republicans accusing the system of catch and release, for dangerous offenders. That's exactly what happened at the border. You can ask the Border Patrol Union. Here's some examples. I did some research of judicial prejudice by left-leaning judges. Judge Royce Lamberth, Reagan appointee, but this is really interesting, sentenced January 6 defendants leniently compared to prosecutor requests, but progressive judges like Tanya Chutkin have been accused of harsher treatment for conservative defendants while showing leniency in non-political cases, fueling claims of ideological favoritism. Isn't that interesting? Example 2. Alameda DA Pamela Price, who's a progressive Democrat, was removed from cases twice. You know what? In 2024 for bias, including failing to prosecute equally across political lines, mirroring accusations against DC judges who allegedly favor minority offenders in violent crimes. I always bring the receipts. The whole point of me giving you these concrete examples is because I get so many ridiculous leftist influencers who say, you're just a right-wing this. I'm not. I love America. As a matter of fact, Trump, I think, has revolutionized the political landscape. I don't think Trump is even right-wing. I think he is way more moderate and center. I've said this many, many times. If I had to define myself, I would say I'm a constitutional centrist. I'm not right or left. I look at an issue, a policy, a law, and I say, does it make practical sense? If it makes practical sense, I don't care who came up with it, wrote it, concocted it, or architected it. If it helps America and American citizens, I'm all for it. Example number 3, Judge Deborah Boardman, Biden appointee, faced conservative backlash in October for an 8-year sentence on Justice Kavanaugh's attempted assassin, deemed quote, lenient, and it was, compared to harsher penalties for right-wing threats, highlighting perceived double standards. That was ridiculous. Example number 4 in Michigan. I don't need to even go through all of these. I mean, read them for yourself if you want to, but there's plenty more examples. So here's what Elon Musk said. And this is what I want to get to. Elon Musk said, and he posted this to his 100 million followers, this was a racist verdict by a racist judge. The simple test to apply is if the races has been reversed, the white kids would be in prison. Equal justice for all. Can you imagine? I want you to answer for me. Do you agree with Elon Musk? Just give me a capital Y or a capital N in the comments down below. I want to play you this viral clip of Ketanji Brown Jackson from the Supreme Court of the United States of America, who essentially says that black people don't have equal access to the voting system. They're disabled. What? Watch this.
I guess I don't understand why that's not what's happening here. The idea in Section 2 is that we are responding to current day manifestations of past and present decisions that disadvantage minorities and make it so that they don't have equal access to the voting system, right? They're disabled. In fact, we use the word disable in Milligan. We say that's a way in which you see that these processes are not equally open.
Victim mentality. It's the same thing with the guns rights activists. It's never, ever, ever the parents. It's never, ever the responsibility of the individual. No, it's the gun. Blaming inanimate objects. Blaming everybody else, but taking responsibility and accountability. Are we seeing a pattern here, folks? This is the pattern of the Hippocrats. And I, for one, am sick and tired of it. Now they want to talk about this young Republicans text message chat that was released when they won't condemn somebody who's actually running for office. This guy, Jay Jones, actually said he wants the wife of his opponent to watch their children get unalived by actual bullets. And he didn't lose one single endorsement. As a matter of fact, every single Democrat said, well, he apologized. He's a good guy. I'm okay with it. So Elon Musk is absolutely right. And I've been saying this a lot too, ad infinitum. They hate us. They don't care about us. They think we're stupid. If those were white kids and Big Balls was fighting for America and he was African American, they for sure would be in prison in the darkest dungeon known to man. And it's the same hypocrisy that they admit with Trump and everything else. They hate us. They hate you. And worse than that, they think we're stupid and they think we can't think for ourselves. Enough is enough. Please tap that thumbs up if you love America. It helps us out immensely. I can't wait to get your comments. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know where you're joining me from too. I love hearing what city, what state, what country you're joining from. We have such a great, beautiful, vast audience who wants to make common sense go viral. I love you guys. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here, just in case you missed them. Tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It's absolutely free. Turn on all notifications. And as always, may God bless you and may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.